Hi, welcome to Snowboarder Lifestyle. If this is the first time that you see my face, clicked on the video. My name is Donna. I turned 61 in March. I raised 6 kids ages 28 to 40 years old. I work full-time in tech remotely, and I started on my health journey in November of 2023. I was 311 pounds and with an A1C of 10. I am now, as of today, 225.4, and I took my blood work a couple weeks ago and it's at 5.4. So I went from an A1C of 10 to an A1C of 5.4. My blood pressure was high. My blood pressure is not high, but that's due to some meds I'm taking on the side. Yeah, my cholesterol, I'm still working on my cholesterol. My cholesterol is still relatively high, so I'm working on that, and I'm taking meds for that as well. All right, so today I wanted to talk about adapting. Even though I have been on Mounjaro since February of 2024, this is box 18 and shot 72. I'm finishing up box 18. And I have been on, I have been on this journey since November of 2023. I have been on 5 milligrams since February of 2024. 72 weeks. Doesn't even include the time I was on 2.5, which was 8 weeks, something like that. I was on for, but I actually am counting from when I got on this scale before I went to the doctor in November of 2023, and now I'm 225, 225.4, and we will see how that goes. So today's discussion is about how we have to adapt over time, because when you first start, I know when I first started taking 5, I felt it immediately. I know there's quite a few people who will agree with me that the first time that you took whatever your magic dose is, my dose is 5. Someone else's might be 7.5 or 10 on Mounjaro or Zepbound. So my particular magic dose has been this dose. This is the dose that took me from a high A1C to being where I'm supposed to be. I'm considered normal with the shot. To, you know, I was getting up there. So. And everybody's magic dose is going to be different, and everybody's reaction. But for me, when I took this, it wasn't immediate, but it was pretty close to immediate. I felt a difference. I felt I wasn't thinking about food all the time. I couldn't eat as much as I could eat like a week before. I didn't have a desire for a lot of the sweets that I would have eaten. So this made a huge difference. But as you're on it for quite a while, it becomes like a natural part of your week-to-week life. And you don't feel it as much because it's, you know, you're thinking like someone who never had to struggle with what we struggled with. I mean, my highest weight was 320. I will put up a couple pictures here that show you when I was at my highest, and I am now at 225. I'm only 5 pounds away from being 100 pounds down from my highest weight. I'm not counting that because I was 311 when I started, so I'm counting from 311. So when I get to 211, that'll be 100 pounds. I'm shooting for 175. So yeah, so over the years, I've had to, and so many of us have to, over the year and a half that I have been on this, I've had to learn to adapt. And part of that adaptation has been making changes to the things that I eat. In general, I've changed so much, and only because I just didn't have the desire. I wasn't, you know, the appetite suppression was keeping me like. I guess what I would say is when I started, I had a lot of the side effects. And I think that I had a lot of the side effects because of some of the stuff that I ate. I discovered that I cannot eat anything greasy at all. It would make me sick. So now I avoid it. Is that because of appetite suppressant and the food noise, or no, I don't know. But if there is anything greasy involved, I'm like, no, thank you. I'll have something else, and I think that I adapted to what this medicine does to my system. But what it does for your system and how your system works is going to be different than mine. You might be perfectly okay with having ground beef or having something greasy or whatever. For my particular situation, so I went through a phase where I kind of had to adapt to what this did for me. And then, like I've talked about before, I don't cook. So everything is convenience, whatever I can grab. And I am in the process right now of going from everything I can grab, anything I can grab, to starting to take some actual steps to do different things. And by the way, I'm quite aware that there are flies. You're going to see them kind of zip by. They might land on my head. They might, But just as an explanation, I live in a development that's between two huge farms that have cows and horses. And during the summer, if I open up my sliding glass door, they come in, and they're particularly bad today. So just you'll see them. It might be the same one flying back and forth. It might be, I've got quite a few of them in here right now that I need to spray. So, but I wanted to get my video out. Anyway, point being, I've had to make different, changes to the things I eat and become a little bit more amenable to prepping my own stuff. And I started doing a little bit of that. And then I met with my dietitian. Like I said, I met with her twice. In my last video, I met with her twice. And the adaptation is not going to be immediate or perfect. One of my big issues has always been a big issue. It's either all or nothing. I'm either completely don't give a darn, don't pay any attention, whatever, I'm going to eat what I want, I don't care, accept me for who I am, body positive, blah, blah, blah. That's all on this. I'm not saying that that's blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying that's the way I felt in those times, because I had convinced myself that I was okay. And I might have been, but the doctor was telling me I was not okay. And having lost my dad at 60, I was like, okay, I have to do something. No matter what I think, I have to do something. So that being said, I did have to start to adapt the stuff that I eat. So at first it was just, I eat the same exact thing every morning for breakfast. Like we talked about before, my lunches were just random, whatever I could find, pick up, blah, blah. And then I started, before I talked to the dietitian, I started making meat, cooking up meat ahead of time. And so this week I added to that because of my discussion with the doctor. And so I made, like a pound of ground turkey with taco, don't you dare go in there, with taco meat, taco sauce, or not taco sauce, taco powder, like the Taco Bell stuff. And so I made that. And then I expanded it after I talked to her. And those of you who are my age, know that potatoes got a bad rap. I had somebody even comment to my thing and say, yeah, potatoes got a bad rap. I said, yeah, they did. And I was one of those who believed that potatoes were bad. So this week, I'm proud of me. I went ahead and took those potatoes I showed you from my grocery haul, cut them up, put some avocado oil and some spices, and I still have more, so I'm going to have some this weekend. Okay. And I made that. So that was another thing that was prepped, and I had that twice this week. I didn't have a bag of chips. I didn't have a Clio. I didn't have a quick grab. I put it on a plate with my ground turkey, put some cheese on it, put a little sour cream, whatever. The other thing that I added this week, and I'm still working on this, but I'm still kind of proud that I did. So these are frozen green beans. And I took the frozen green beans and put them in the microwave. And then so yeah, so I've got about half. So I actually thought about the fact that I needed to add some kind of, excuse me while it's going to be a poopy. I actually thought about adding the non-starchy vegetables. I added tomato this week. I added green beans. I haven't quite got to the broccoli, but like I was trying to say, the adaptation is not going to be immediate, and it's going to take a little while to get to the point where you do the things or eat the food or make the changes you need to make. Same thing with my exercise. I meant to mention last week that my dietitian had said, I had told her I had increased the incline on my, the incline on my treadmill to 6%, and I was doing 5 minutes. She said, it is much better for you to do 1% incline and then walk for as close to 30 minutes as you can. So I did, in fact. The only reason why I hadn't changed it is because I have to manually do it. I don't have a treadmill where you just push the button and it goes. No, I have to like turn it over and take the kickstand and put the kickstand at 1% instead of 6%. So I did that. Did I get any walking in this week? No. I was sick for 3 or 4 days. So I wound up with some kind of flu bug. I lost my voice on Thursday. I'm sounding much better, feeling much better. But I got something or other, and so I was sick, and so I was pretty much more immobile than usual this week. So I'm going to try and make sure that I do my treadmill again this week. It does help having it out here instead of in my bedroom, so that has been beneficial. Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to get across today is that your journey, and we've talked about this before, is not going to be the same as mine. But you need to be willing to adapt and change as needed so that it can be sustainable. I have been on this for quite a while, not as long as some, but not as short as others. And like I said, I don't have the side effects. I do still have the control of my A1C. I am still losing weight. I mean, it doesn't go pound to pound. I think the average it said was about 0.6, what do you call it? 0.6 ounces a week, or half a pound a week, which is fine. Half a pound to 1 pound is okay by me. But it wasn't like every week. It was like I went up, went down, went up, went down, went up, went down, you know? So, I mean, I will post a thing of what it's looked like for the last month, for the last 3 months. And I've already posted before, like the last year. And that's what helps me when I have those weeks when I get on the scale and it's like, oh, I gained a pound. Or, oh, I only lost a half or a few ounces. Looking at the whole picture really does make a difference. And I think one of the things that I'm going to be doing going forward, and I'll talk a little bit more about that this coming week, is making the ingredients ahead of time has really improved my overall nutrition. Going and making the ground turkey, and making some potatoes, cooking up with the vegetables that are in the freezer and putting them in a container. So all I got to do is put it on a plate, stick it in the microwave, or cook it in the air fryer. I'm thinking about making some breakfast burritos. But for me, I just want to do it as a more of an individual ingredients and then make a different thing each time. I think they call it capsule prep, capsule. So you just make a whole bunch of different things that you want to eat through the week. And then, so I did pretty good. I would like to do more. I need to like cook up the broccoli that we were talking about last week, cook up those carrots that I made. I didn't cook those up, and things like that. I actually went out looking for things that I had sitting in the garage, like a thing for chopping up vegetables, like one of those ones that with the lid that, yeah, I'll put a picture of what it looks like. But I have one of those. So I'm going to do that. So yeah, this week has just really been about looking at what I'm doing and making a couple changes. I don't know if I mentioned, I changed my Bay's English muffins that I was having in the morning to Thomas's light multigrain. So now I have Thomas's, which is 100 calories and 4 grams of protein, 26 grams of carbs, less than a gram of sugar. But this is now what I use as my base for my cottage cheese and fruit in the morning. I was using Bay's. And Bay's, I'll put the nutrition for Bay's up there. I think it was 140 calories. I don't remember what the protein was. But I changed this. And only because I'd been thinking about it, because on the list there was different, what do you call it? The other thing I changed. 1 second. Let me go grab it. You may see flies sitting on my chair because I left my chair, and they're like, yeah, let me get on the chair. Okay, so remember last week, or I think it was my haul. I said, oh man, they don't have my Bay's English muffin on there, and all they got is wheat stuff. Bleh. So, because I usually will get sourdough bread, Bay's English muffin, and tortillas. I eat a lot of tortillas. I like tortillas, and they have a lot of fiber in them. That's the other thing I'm going to bring up in a second. But I went, this may not be the best, but it is an improvement from what I was eating. And this is Great Value wheat and honey bread. And it's 110 calories, 5 grams of protein, 23 grams of carbs, 4 grams of fiber. So the other thing that I did this week is that there was a lot more fiber in my diet this week. I will have to sit down and figure out exactly how much, but I did look at and make choices based on how much fiber. These are good. I enjoy this bread. I usually have 1 slice, and I'll have it with whatever, my tuna, my sandwich, my sandwich meat or whatever. So that was really good. So those were things I changed. And I think, what was the fiber on this? Did I say what the fiber was? 8 grams of fiber. Now that's really good, since I'm supposed to have 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day. This is really good in terms of the fiber. Okay for the protein. It's not a high protein because it's 4 grams and it's 100 calories, so that's not high, but really good, really, really good. And I was surprised because I am not a wheat loving, so this might have been like, I could probably do better. There's no high fructose corn syrup and it's cholesterol free. So, but I really enjoyed it, and I would eat one of them. You get 1 slice for 110. And I was eating, I'll have to look at my sourdough nutrition and see what the difference is between the two. But those are just little things that I'm adapting, changing. And it doesn't matter how long you've been on it or how much background or anything. Being able to adapt as we lose weight is a big deal, because at some point the meds, they keep working on our food noise, and they keep working on our appetite suppressant, but maybe not as much as when you started. And so that's why I was really gung-ho about going and talking to a dietitian. I would recommend, if you're just starting, if you have the insurance for it, schedule a dietitian appointment, like right from the get-go. The other thing I would recommend is get the exercise in the beginning. I still have to make my bone density / DEXA scan appointment. I haven't talked to my doctor about it yet. I mentioned it last week, but don't delay. I mean, even if it's just a little bit, because I kind of regret now that I didn't get more into the exercise aspect. I am happy with what I've lost, but I am not happy about the fact that I didn't start the workout aspect of it all those months ago, year and a half ago. So make sure, get yourself a dietitian, do some exercise, and start adapting your diet for yourself, because what I eat and how it affects my body is going to be different than the person next to me who has chronic kidney disease or has some kind of other issue. I have, like I said, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. So a lot of the things I've been changing are to try and help with those aspects of my health, and at the same time keep a calorie deficit so I can lose the weight and get down to the weight that I would like to be. I believe that's it. My deepest apologies for the dang flies. Hopefully I will have gotten rid of them by next week. I don't know. There'll always be one or two. I was tempted to record from another part of the house, but this is the best lighting. So welcome to my friends. And I will be chasing them around with spray in about 2 seconds, so they won't be around for very long. All right, so love you guys. I believe that's all I have today. I told you guys about the treadmill, I think, that I took it down from 6% to 1% per the dietitians who said do 30 minutes on the treadmill instead of doing 5 minutes at 6%. And I did that. I turned the thing over and I had to do it manually, so I had to turn the treadmill over and change that. And I think that's it. I hope you guys get a great week. This is shorter than normal. The only thing I really wanted to talk about was the changes I made this week and the fact that I dropped 4 pounds. Don't know if it was the changes or if it was the increase in fiber. Don't know. Just know I'm down 4 pounds. So happy about that. All right. That's it. Love you. Don't forget to hit like on the way out. If you're new, please hit subscribe. And thank you very much.